Hi, we're Team 8, and this is the MicroChip Inc. case. I'm Greg Berry.
I'm Lauren Sayers.
Greg Fulbaum.
And I'm Sandra Childress.
Brief case overview. MicroChip Inc. is a company located in Northern California that produces integrated circuit boards for the microcomputer industry. They're concerned that their sick leave policy has encouraged intentional absenteeism as a method of maximizing paid time off among its 250 hourly employees. An analysis of the sick day usage leads human resources to conclude that a sizable minority of the workforce is maximizing or exceeding their annual sick days. The managerial problem. Each employee is permitted only 1 week of paid leave each year and receives 18 days of sick leave to use whenever necessary. The sporadic and unannounced use of sick days negatively contributes to the productivity and smooth operation of the chip manufacturing process. And the HR department would like to curb fraudulent use without eliminating it for the employees that are using it in good faith. The annual expense of wages for workers home sick last year was $261,009.88. This has led the company to implement two solutions. The first is an unused sick day sell back program. The second is an exercise membership subsidy. The first allows hourly employees to convert sick days to cash at a 3-to-1 ratio. And the second is a $200 subsidy for the gym membership to be implemented in order to lower the cost of their annual premiums for insurance and encourage healthier workforce and better at work average. The data set that was provided includes non-attributional data on 233 unique hourly employees. It goes over hourly pay in dollars between $8.90 and $13.23, sick leave taken last year, sick leave taken in this trial year, and if the employee has opted into the exercise subsidy or not.
MicroChip wants to ensure the anti-absentee program was effective in reducing costs and sick days taken during the trial year. This is MicroChip's primary concern on whether or not to move forward with the program, and therefore this is where we will start with our data analysis. We'll first take a look at the program was effective in reducing costs. During the previous year, the only cost of MicroChip was that of paid sick days. As mentioned previously, each employee was able to take up to 18 days of paid sick leave. This was an overall cost of $261,009 to MicroChip during the previous year. During the trial year, there were a couple of additional costs that MicroChip had to take into consideration. Along with paid sick leave, MicroChip had to cover the cost of unused sick day sellback in the subsidized exercise program, which resulted in a total cost of $255,209 during the trial year. At first glance, it appears that the trial program was effective in reducing the total cost of MicroChip. However, things change once we run a paired two-sample t-test comparing cost per employee during the previous year and the trial year with an alpha of 0.05. The average cost per employee last year was $1,120, and the average cost per employee during the trial year was $1,095. The p-value of the two tails is 0.1264, which is larger than our alpha of 0.05. Since the p-value is larger than our alpha, we cannot reject the null and we cannot conclude that there's a significant difference between the mean cost last year and the trial year. We cannot determine that the trial program resulted in cost savings. Next, we'll take a look at the trial program was effective in reducing the number of sick days taken by hourly employees in the previous year and the trial year through a paired sample t-test with an alpha of 0.05. The average sick days taken per employee last year was 13.16 days, and the average sick days taken per employee during the trial year was 8.68 days. Our p-value from the two-tailed test is 1.47 times 10 to the negative 63rd. This is far less than our alpha of 0.05, and we conclude there was a significant difference between the means. There was a significant reduction in the number of sick days taken during the trial year, and the program was effective in reducing sick days taken. We've reached an interesting crossroads where the trial program was productive in reducing sick days, but not necessarily costs. To understand the trial program further, we'll take a deep dive into the individual aspects of the program, the sick day sellback, and the health and fitness subsidy.
So after examining the trial program, the effect it had on cost and sick day usage, specifically between those participating in the exercise program and those that did not, we wanted to dig a little deeper into the year-over-year differences between these two groups. Before we could examine the data, we needed to verify that the mean differences between years was not due to sampling error. In order to achieve this, we utilized a two-tailed t-test for paired two-sample means with a significance level of 0.05. We performed this test on exercise program participants, that is, those that received a $200 subsidy and also sold back sick days, non-participants, those with an option to only sell back sick days, and then we ran a hypothetical test on participants had this $200 subsidy been removed. As mentioned earlier, the sample data contained 233 observations of roughly 250 employees. Since the sample data contained about 93% of total population data, as Greg had noted, we expected sampling error to have little to no effect on the differences. That is an extremely low p-value. In the case of non-participants in the exercise program, employees were given the opportunity only to sell back unused sick days at a rate of 1 for 3, up to 18 total days. Using the alpha value of 0.05, the p-value came out to 0.000641, indicating an extremely low chance that differences were due to sampling error. Again, this was our expectation. We noted that 93.2% of non-participants lowered their sick day usage. Given that the total sample represented a majority of employees, it's clear that the sellback program accomplished its goal of reducing sick days. The average sick day reduction to non-participants was roughly 4 days. Of course, most notable here was that the average cost of the company for employees only participating in the sellback program dropped by $67.82. Next, we observed exercise program participation. These employees were given a $200 gym membership subsidy as long as they met certain criteria. For our company, it was working out 3 times per day, 3 times per week on their personal time, in addition to the sellback program of a third of the day's pay. Once again, our hypothesis testing revealed no significant differences due to sampling error. This program resulted in a slightly higher rate of sick day reduction of 98.6, very close to 100%. This group had a higher average reduction in sick days, roughly 5 compared to the non-participants of 4 days. Interestingly, we were expecting cost reductions to be lower in this group. We understood that there was an additional $200 cost for the gym membership subsidy, and presumably these employees were healthier, so they were selling back more sick days. But here we saw that average costs actually increased by $71.09. So clearly something is happening here that needed to be investigated further. We decided to conduct a hypothetical test on exercise program participants if they had not received this $200 subsidy. The average cost per employee when removing this then dropped by $128.91. Of course, you have to view sick days in nominal terms here because these employees may not have reduced their sick days if they were not exercising as much. However, it's clear that the $200 was putting a significant burden on the overall program cost. This led us to make several recommendations, which Chandra will address next.
It is our recommendation to MicroChip that since less than a third of the employees utilize the Health Club Subsidy Program, that they end the $200 Health Club Subsidy, thus saving $14,400 per year. The sellback of sick leave was successful with nearly all the employees. We also recommend to MicroChip to continue this sick leave buyback program, but at the increased rate of 2 to 1 to encourage this behavior. This becomes an additional savings with the increased productivity throughout the year is worth far more than we expect the 2.5 fewer sick days which will be utilized. As such, we recommend a reduction in sick days offered from 18 to 17 days based on the actual days not used this past calendar year. The additional savings per employee from the 2 to 1 sick day conversion is $12.65. which works out to be an additional $2,947.45 savings for the 233 employees in the hourly pool. For your reference, slides 12 through 17 represent the appendices A through F. Thank you for your time, and we are open for questions at this time.